Hey friends, Lauren here from Garden Girl Studio. After last week's video all about my display setup at art markets, I've gotten a few questions about which display items are my favorite and where I've found them. So I thought I'd run through my favorite display items, how I've modified them, and where you can find them for your next art market. To get started, let's talk about our general booth setup. I have a tent for my booth. I have actually changed tents. I've borrowed one from my dad in the past, and then we reinvested in a new tent. The reason why we did that was because we started having overnight markets. So our new tent has sides. And not only does it have sides, it has zippered sides. So it gives me a little bit more peace of mind at night that I can kind of zipper close my tent. Is it perfect security? No. But when I'm doing an overnight market, it helps me feel a little bit better that my products will be a little bit safer. I will link all of these products that I'm about to mention in the description below if I can find them. I'm pretty sure I got most of them on Amazon, and if I didn't, then I will mention it as we go. I also have a number of product-specific display items that I like to use. One of the questions I got was, where do I get my mannequin heads? The original, I've changed them over the years. This has actually been a process. I'm so glad that you asked. The first mannequins I had for my booth were foam heads. They were just classic foam bust heads. And I got them at Michael's. I either got them at Michael's or Joann's, but I think it was Michael's. I'm thinking Joann's because I'm pretty sure they had Frankenstein ones as well that I wanted to get for a Halloween event, but I never got them. So I'm pretty sure I got just the classic busts at Michael's. The problem with the foam heads that I found was they didn't store well. They kept denting. If you had anything next to them, they would easily dent. Granted, they weren't that expensive, so not a huge loss, but having to deal with dented heads, it just kind of took away from the overall display. So I found some new ones on Amazon that were covered in fabric. And what I like about those is even if they dent, you really won't be able to see it because the fabric is flushing over the foam. And they have a nice heavy wooden base. So I really love these. They're great. I use them to display my knit hats, my knit beanies that I embroider. I've enjoyed these very much. I haven't had any issues with them flopping over. They've been great. I also have some coordinating jewelry busts for my necklaces that I really like to use. And I have little sweatshirt hanging rack mannequins. I find what's really great about all of these is that it shows the customer exactly how they can use the product. So it kind of can make them visualize how they can have a hat or how a necklace would wear or lay on them. Puts them a little bit more into the mindset of purchasing and how this product can be used, as opposed to just having a product sitting there, lying there, and then they have to kind of picture, okay, well, would I use this? Having it actually on a bust or on a mannequin, I find that it really does help. I also have a number of other jewelry displays. One of my favorites is actually a spinning rack. I love the spinning rack, especially when I have a single table, a 6-foot table or 8-foot table booth setup, because it saves space. I can have more jewelry on all 4 sides of that rack and it spins around, which is fantastic. Love that. If I have a bigger booth, then I can kind of lay out all of my jewelry and spread it out. In that case, I like to use tiered racks. They come in both metal form and in wooden form. For my metal racks, I have them at a local coffee shop, the Copper Easel, and they're nice to display because I think they can fit 25, 28 different necklaces on there. So I can fit a whole bunch into kind of a small space on their shelves. They can fit right on a shelf. So I like the metal racks, but I also like the wooden slotted racks because they come in different sizes and they come at different heights. So I can kind of scatter them around my booth in a couple places. I can put them all onto my shelving and they fit in the shelves. Gives me some flexibility with my booth. I will list all of those in the description below, depending on what your setup is and what will work for you. I also have kind of a super cool bookmark and sticker display that I also found on Amazon. It comes in a couple of different sizes depending on how many stickers you have. Technically, it's a sticker display. The way that I modified it with my dad's help was we drilled holes through the top row of the sticker unit, and then we put little dowel rods through so that our bookmarks can sit on the top row and not fall forward. Sometimes the tall bookmarks, there's not much of a lip on the shelves, so they can tend to flop forward as people are shopping or if it gets kind of knocked. So with the dowel through it, it prevents the bookmarks from flopping forward. So we made slight modifications along the way. They're easy to break down. Getting them back into the box is sometimes a trick, but I haven't had too much trouble with it. I think it's worthwhile. It takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes to set up, but if you have a couple extra minutes, it's worth it. And I haven't noticed any chipping wood. It's good quality. They've held up for me. I've really enjoyed them. Next, let's talk about some of the bigger furniture I use in my booth. The first one is a classic. It's a 6-foot table. I use 6-foot tables when I'm doing just single 6-foot table displays. If I've got a smaller booth, I use them for my checkout station. I also sometimes have 4-foot tables. So if you've got a smaller booth, maybe an 8x10 or a 6x6, you might want to consider a 4-foot table. They can be a little bit narrower, which is nice, and it can save you a little bit of footprint in your booth. Bonus points if you use a tablecloth. It's going to elevate your booth. Tablecloths are great. I particularly love the fitted tablecloths. And again, extra bonus points if you get a fitted tablecloth that is in your brand colors, because it's going to make your whole brand setup look more cohesive, and it's probably going to draw attention because it's colorful. It's not just like a white tablecloth. And don't get me wrong, I do use my white tablecloths when I need to, but I love using my fitted hot pink tablecloths when I can because it's a pop of color and it just adds to the Garden Girl Studio brand. So I highly recommend if you can find a tablecloth that's close to your brand colors, it's just going to take your booth to that next level. I also, and I mentioned this in the last video, if you haven't watched it, I will put it up here, but I do like to use those shelves, the folding shelves. What's nice about them, you see them fully displayed here, but they fold up. So they get compact, so they're easy to travel with, they're easy to set up. I don't have to like take them apart bar by bar to set them up. They just fold right out and they're easy to set up. I will say that a couple of them came in damaged. It wasn't a ton of damage, but I think 2 of them came in and one of the hinges was broken. We just zip tied it closed. To us, it wasn't a deal breaker. They still work just fine. So keep in mind, you choose one that's going to be a good fit, or keep in mind that in transit, they might get knocked around a little bit, but so far we've had good luck with them and they make setup a breeze. Love that. We also took one of the shelves and we modified it to be a sweatshirt display. We removed 2 of the shelves using Sawzall, well, by we, I mean Garden Dad. Thank you, Garden Dad. He cut out 2 of the shelves, and we added a hanging rod so that we could display all of our sweatshirts. Makes it super easy to shop, and it's a little bit more boutique-like. We also use big grids. Because I sell embroidery hoops, these grid displays are super duper helpful. We have zip tied, well, actually we use Velcro now. We used to zip tie, but Velcro is easier and it's a little bit more cost effective and it's a little bit more earth friendly. So we use Velcro to tie 3 grids together. I got 4-foot sections. They sell 6-foot sections, but we got 4-foot sections because I thought they'd fit in the car better. We don't have huge cars, so they fit in the car better. And then we cut a couple of the smaller ones to make them into 6-foot sections, so they fold up. And we just Velcro them all together to create a tri-grid at our displays. What I love to use with these grids are S-hooks. S-hooks are amazing. I love S-hooks. They're great for hanging all kinds of ornaments. So if you sell Christmas ornaments, they're great. I use them to hang up my embroidery hoops. They can hold on to like the back of like, I've sold like artwork with them. Love them. They're fantastic for hanging things. I also like to use clip-in peg hooks for my, like they're made for these grids. They're great, especially these large grids. I use them for any of my wristlets that I do, and I use them for any of my tote bags because it kind of makes them look like a little shop display. Again, just gives a little bit more of that boutique vibe, a little bit easier to shop. They do stick out, so be careful, but they come in different widths. I think they have like 2-inch and 3-inch. They've got a few different widths, so you can get ones that make sense for whatever you're selling. And speaking of the grid racks, they also come in smaller forms. So the big ones, the big grids that I talk about, the 4-foot sections that we turn into 6-foot sections, I got those at Uline. Let me tell you, Uline's great. I'm sure they're great. The shipping was exorbitant. It was so expensive to have those shipped. Now, I know they're really heavy, so fair. I get it. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's a cheaper place to get them. All I know is they were super expensive to ship. You can also get smaller tabletop cubes, and those I got on Amazon. Okay, there's pros and cons to these grids. They can be a little bit tricky to set up. You gotta really like push them into like the wedges to get them to set up, but they give you a lot of flexibility with your booth. I've made cubes out of them. I've made shelves out of them. I have made little corner walls when I've got just like a little table and I want to just hang up a few, local town ornaments, but not set up a huge big rack. They give you flexibility, which is super duper nice. They're a little bit of a pain to set up, but they are compact, they store well, and they're fairly easy to travel with. Food for thought, pros and cons. One other display item that can come in handy are different height boxes. Depending on your style and your vibe, if you want to use different milk crates or different style boxes in your displays, it can add some like coziness to your display, make it look a little bit less, structured and formal. And there's some positives in that. You know what I mean? So I like using milk crates. I like using the little plastic bins, especially for my smaller items, my tea towels, my cup cozies. I even have some of my like artwork in little acrylic bins because it helps hold them up. And I use clear ones just because it doesn't detract from anything. It's not distracting. They can see through it. So if my item is small, they can still see into the bin. They're nice. You can place them on shelves. That's an option too. But those are classics, and they can also store stuff for like, they're also storable. So like as you're packing up, you can keep things in the bins and then just pull them out and put them on display. Might save you some time setting up. Food for thought. So those are also super helpful. And the last thing you're going to want to bring is some signage. And these can be easy printables. You're going to want to bring something that's going to tell how much your products cost, even if it's just like a menu style price list. You might want to consider bringing price tags or small signs to put up next to your items. Lately, in the last market, we just did little clips where we put the prices in the clips and hung them on the shelves. That was great because they weren't super huge and super bulky. You're also going to probably want a sign or something that says the name of your business so that people can follow you on all the social medias, so they can find you on your website and continue to follow you and get to know you and your business. I currently have just like I think it's a vinyl sign, like an indoor, outdoor use sign. Sometimes I put it on the front of one of my 6-foot tables. Sometimes I put it at the back of my booth. I think I want to make a table runner sign with my logo on it. If you all want to see a really easy way to print that out onto fabric and to sew it up, let me know and I will do a tutorial on here. I will do a tutorial because I think that could be a lot of fun. And I think I like that better than actually hanging my vinyl sign on the front of the table. So if you want to see how to make an easy table runner for your booth, let me know and I will do a tutorial for that. Thank you all so much for following along. I'm so glad that you enjoyed that last video. If you want some more small business resources, please let me know. I'm more than happy to share whatever I can. I know when I was first starting my business, this was the hard part, right? Gathering the resources. And if there's anything I can share to make your small business life easier, I'm happy to share. And if you want to see more art videos or sewing videos, let me know that too. That way I know what you want to see next. I am so glad that you're here. Thank you again so much. I hope you have a fabulous week, a fabulous weekend. So until next time, friends, happy stitching.